You've been told that chasing women works. The truth, it almost never does. Most men spend years playing the wrong game. They send long texts, buy gifts, clear their schedules, and bend themselves inside out, thinking all that effort will earn respect. But deep down, they can feel it's not working. Instead of gratitude, they get distance. Instead of respect, they get indifference. And the more they give, the less she values it. It's a brutal cycle, and it leaves men frustrated, confused, even questioning their worth. They wonder, what else can I do? Why doesn't she see that I'm a good man? Here's the answer. No one teaches you respect isn't earned by chasing. It's created when you stop begging for it. Women don't respect men who throw themselves at their feet. They respect men who know their value, men who hold back, men who live with discipline and presence. And that's what this video is about. 10 shifts that flip the script. 10 ways to go from the man who's always chasing to the man she doesn't want to lose. We're not talking about tricks, pickup lines, or games. We're talking about psychology, discipline, and Stoic principles that women can't ignore. If you've ever felt invisible despite giving your best, what you'll hear today will change the way you see yourself and the way women see you. Let's get into it. Number 1. Stop chasing, start leading. Let's be honest, most men were taught to chase. Movies, songs, even well-meaning advice from friends all push the same idea. If you just try hard enough, if you give enough, if you prove how much you want her, she'll finally respect you. But in the real world, that script backfires. Chasing doesn't create respect. It kills it. Because here's what chasing says: you're the prize. I'm just hoping you'll pick me. And once you put yourself in that frame, you've already lost. Respect doesn't flow uphill. Respect flows toward strength, toward leadership, toward the man who knows his value. Take Michael, 51, an insurance broker from Chicago. After his divorce, he started dating again, and his default approach was to chase. He'd text constantly, offer to pick women up for every errand, rearrange his schedule at the drop of a hat. On paper, it looked like effort, but the women he dated didn't respond with gratitude, they responded with distance. One even told him, "You're nice, but it feels like you don't have a life of your own." That stung, but it was true. Then came Angela, 48, a yoga instructor he met through mutual friends. Michael felt the urge to chase, but this time he tried something different. Instead of bombarding her with attention, he slowed down. He let her reach out sometimes. When they made plans, he suggested clear times and places. Instead of asking, "What do you want to do?" he stopped waiting for her to set the tone and started setting it himself. The difference was night and day. Angela leaned in. She texted him first. She respected the way he carried himself. Because Michael wasn't chasing anymore, he was leading. And that's the shift you need to make. Stop asking, "What do I need to do to make her want me?" Start asking, "What standard do I want to set? What life do I want to lead? And is she invited into it?" Leadership doesn't mean being controlling. It doesn't mean dominating or ignoring her input. It means you take responsibility for the direction of your own life. You set the tone. You carry yourself like a man who has purpose, discipline, and self-respect. The Stoics understood this long before dating apps existed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's leadership at its core. You don't beg, you don't chase. You don't try to manipulate outcomes. You control yourself. And when you do, people naturally follow your lead. Here's the irony: when you chase, you're actually running away from yourself. You abandon your standards, your time, your focus. And the more you give up those things, the less attractive you become. But when you lead, you're not running, you're walking with purpose. And that walk pulls her toward you. Michael later said, "I realized I didn't need to convince Angela. I just needed to live in a way that showed her what kind of man I am." And that's exactly it. Respect isn't earned by chasing, it's earned by leading. So here's your move. Stop running after her. Stand still. Set your direction. Invite her to walk with you. And if she doesn't, you keep walking anyway. Because the man who leads never loses. If you're ready to hold that frame, write it in the comments, I lead myself. And stay right here, because the next shift cuts even deeper. It reveals why being nice isn't always what earns respect, and how to flip that script without losing your edge. Number 2. Nice without strength is weakness. Being nice is not the problem. Every woman appreciates kindness, thoughtfulness, and respect. The problem is when nice comes without strength, because in that case, nice doesn't look like virtue, it looks like weakness. Here's why. When you're nice in order to be liked, when you bend over backwards to avoid conflict, when you smile and nod at everything she says just to stay in her good graces, you're not showing strength, you're showing fear, and women can feel it instantly. Niceness without strength says, I don't want to upset you, I don't want to lose you, please don't reject me. And that frame is poison to attraction, because attraction isn't built on fear, it's built on respect. And respect always flows towards strength. Now, strength doesn't mean being rude or cold. Strength means you can be kind, but you're not afraid to draw lines. You can listen, but you're not afraid to disagree. You can care, but you're not desperate for approval. Think about it this way. Kindness backed by strength feels like generosity, but kindness without strength feels like begging. The first inspires respect. The second kills it. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, the key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. That's not a man who's trying to please everyone. That's a man who knows his standards. And standards are strength. So ask yourself, when you're being nice, is it because it aligns with who you are, or is it because you're hoping she'll like you more if you soften every edge? Because if it's the second, it's not really kindness, it's strategy. And women can sense when your kindness is a mask for insecurity. The irony is, when you try to be endlessly nice, you often create the opposite of what you want. She doesn't feel closer, she feels less respect. She doesn't see a man she can lean on, she sees a man she can control. And once she feels that, attraction dies. Strength means you're willing to risk displeasing her in order to stay true to yourself. It means you don't agree just to keep the peace, you speak your mind with calm. You don't overgive attention, you choose when and how to give it. You don't abandon your standards for approval, you hold them firmly. And when you combine that with kindness, something powerful happens. She sees you as both caring and unshakable. That's the balance women respect. That's the balance they crave. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. And being a good man isn't about endless niceness. It's about strength, discipline, self-respect, and presence combined with kindness. Without strength, nice is weakness. With strength, nice is power. So here's the shift. Stop using niceness as a strategy. Stop performing kindness in hopes of getting something back. Be kind because it's who you are, and back it up with strength so she knows your kindness isn't coming from fear, it's coming from choice. If this is the standard you want to hold, put it in the comments right now. I lead with strength. And stay tuned, because the next shift dives into one of the most misunderstood truths about attraction. The fact that scarcity, not abundance, is what makes you valuable. Number 3. Make your presence scarce, not desperate. Here's the truth. Most men never want to hear, when you're always available, when you flood her with constant presence, your value drops. Presence is like gold, it only shines when it's rare. But when it's everywhere, it starts to feel like cheap metal. Scarcity creates respect. Desperation kills it. Let's break this down. When a man makes himself scarce, it doesn't mean he ghosts her or plays games. It means his time is valuable. He doesn't rearrange his entire life just because she sends a text. He doesn't answer immediately every single time her name lights up his phone. He responds yes, but on his terms. And that simple shift changes everything. Take Robert, 52, a contractor from Ohio. After his long-term relationship ended, he started seeing Linda, 49, who worked in healthcare. At first, Robert thought the way to show interest was to be constantly around. He'd call her every evening, drop by her office with coffee and text during his lunch breaks. At first, Linda smiled, but soon she started to pull back. She told him, "It feels like you don't have your own life." That was Robert's wake-up call. He realized his eagerness had turned into desperation. So he pulled back, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. He focused on his gym sessions, his work and time with his grown kids. Instead of calling daily, he checked in a few times a week. Instead of hovering, he invited Linda to join him when he was already doing something meaningful, like hiking or cooking dinner at home. The result, Linda leaned back in. She initiated calls. She wanted to be part of his schedule instead of feeling like she was his entire schedule. Robert wasn't less attractive because he was less available. He was more attractive because his presence had become scarce and therefore valuable. Women respect men who have a life. Men who are busy building, creating, leading, enjoying, not men who orbit their every move. Desperation says, "You're my whole world." Scarcity says, "I have a world of my own and you're welcome to join me in it." And this ties directly to Stoic wisdom. Epictetus reminded his students, "Know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly." If you know your life has value, if you know your time is precious, you won't throw it at anyone who looks your way. You'll treat your presence like a gift. And gifts are never desperate, they're chosen. So here's the lesson. Stop being everywhere all the time. Stop flooding her with your presence. Instead, build a life that makes your presence worth something. Work on your body. Build your business. Spend time with your friends. Do things that matter to you. And when you share that presence with her, she'll feel it's special because it is. Robert told me later, "Once I stopped orbiting Linda, she started chasing me." And that's exactly how it works. If you're ready to hold that standard, put it in the comments. I guard my presence. And don't go anywhere, because the next shift exposes the truth about attention. Why it's the most powerful currency you have, and why spending it the wrong way bankrupts your value every single time. Number 4. Treat attention like currency, not charity. Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you own. And yet most men spend it like it's worthless, handing it out freely, flooding women with constant texts, likes, comments, and compliments. But here's the truth. When attention is everywhere, it loses its value. Think of money. If dollars were lying around on every street corner, no one would treat them seriously. It's the scarcity that gives them power. Your attention works the same way. When you treat it like charity, giving it away endlessly without thought, it becomes meaningless. When you treat it like currency spent wisely and intentionally, it becomes priceless. Here's what happens when you flood her with attention. She doesn't feel special. She feels smothered. She doesn't respect it. She discounts it. But when you give attention selectively, when you let her earn it, suddenly your attention becomes something she looks forward to, something she values, something she craves. The Stoics lived by this principle of restraint. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Apply that to attention. If it doesn't serve your standards, if it doesn't reflect your values, don't spend it. Hold it back until it matters. Because every time you give attention, you're investing in someone, and not everyone deserves that investment. And this doesn't mean ignoring women. It means making your attention intentional. Instead of sending 5 empty compliments, give one that's real. Instead of checking in every hour, check in when it matters. Instead of chasing her online presence, invest your focus into your own growth. So when you do look her way, it actually means something. Attention should feel earned. When she puts in effort, when she shows genuine interest, that's when you give more. That's when your attention feels like a reward, not a handout. And when it feels like a reward, she respects it and she respects you. The truth is, women respect men whose time and energy are rare. Men who don't throw their presence around like confetti. Men who know their value and act accordingly. That's what makes your attention powerful, not how much you give, but how carefully you choose where it goes. So here's the shift. Stop treating your attention like charity. Stop begging for connection by overspending what should be your most precious currency. Spend it with discipline. Spend it with intention. Spend it in a way that makes her lean in instead of pull away. Because when you do, she'll chase not because you begged, but because she knows your attention means something. If you're ready to hold that frame, put it in the comments. I guard my attention. And if you're serious about taking this further, if you're ready to move beyond these free lessons into the kind of deeper training that transforms your relationships, your discipline, and your mindset, consider becoming a channel member. That's where we go beyond theory into practice, where you learn how to build a life that makes women respect you before you even say a word. Don't miss what's next. Because the upcoming shift is about something even more powerful than attention. It's about energy. Not the words you say, but the presence you carry. And when you understand this, everything about attraction changes. Number 5. Let sexual energy speak louder than words. Most men believe attraction is built through what they say. They try to talk their way into desire with endless compliments, with long conversations, with carefully chosen lines. But here's the truth. Words aren't what ignite desire. Energy does. Sexual energy is the unspoken current that runs between a man and a woman. It's in your eyes, in your tone, in how you carry yourself. It's not about being vulgar or aggressive. It's about radiating confidence, presence, and a grounded masculine energy that she can feel without you ever saying a word. Take Daniel, 47, a gym owner from Florida. He met Rebecca, 45, at a charity event. At first he did what most men do. He leaned on conversation. He told stories, asked questions, and tried to keep the flow going. Rebecca smiled politely, but nothing sparked. Later that night, Daniel tried something different. He slowed down. Instead of filling every silence, he looked at her, steady, unhurried, with a half smile that carried weight. He didn't explain himself. He didn't rush to prove anything. He just let his energy speak. Rebecca leaned in. She started playing with her hair. She held his gaze longer. Nothing had changed in the words he used. What changed was the energy he carried. That's the difference. When you rely only on words, you're chasing. When you lean into your energy, you're leading. Women pick up on this instantly. They're wired to read subtext, to feel what's unspoken. A man who tries too hard with words often feels nervous, needy, or fake. A man who lets silence breathe, who stands grounded in his body, who makes eye contact with confidence, that man radiates attraction without saying much at all. The Stoics understood this principle in a different form. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Apply that to attraction. Women don't fall for the endless chatter. They feel something deeper in the imagination, in the space you create, in the energy you project. That energy lingers long after the conversation ends. Sexual energy isn't about trying to prove you're desirable. It's about knowing you are. It's not about chasing with words. It's about inviting with presence. When you stop relying on words to convince her and start letting your energy speak, she feels it in her body, not just in her head. And that's what makes it powerful. Daniel later told me, "I realized I didn't need the perfect line. I just needed to show up fully present." That's the shift. So here's the move. Stop talking yourself out of attraction. Stop filling space with nervous chatter. Instead, slow down, breathe, hold eye contact, let silence work for you. Let your energy do the heavy lifting, because when your words stop trying to prove and your energy starts to lead, she doesn't just hear you, she feels you. If you're ready to live from that standard, write it in the comments. I radiate energy. And don't go anywhere. Because the next shift reveals a hidden truth about options, why the man who has choices always commands respect, and why the man without them is always the one left chasing. Number 6. Options create respect, not neediness. Here's a reality most men don't want to face. If she senses you have no options, her respect for you drops. Not because she's cruel, not because she doesn't value you as a person, but because deep down women are wired to respect men who live from abundance, not desperation. When you only have one option, everything you do becomes heavy. Every text feels urgent. Every interaction feels like it could make or break your future. That pressure doesn't inspire respect, it creates tension. And instead of being drawn to you, she feels suffocated. But when you live as a man with options, everything shifts. You don't cling. You don't overreact. You don't beg for her time. You move with calm confidence because you know she's not your only shot at connection, intimacy, or love. That frame alone changes the entire dynamic. Now let's be clear. Options don't mean juggling endless women or playing games. Options mean you've built a life so full, so rich, so disciplined that no single person defines your worth. It means you're developing yourself, building friendships, pursuing passions, and creating a life that naturally draws people in. From that place, if one woman pulls away, it doesn't crush you. You still stand tall. The Stoics nailed this principle centuries ago. Epictetus taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Think about how that applies here. The man who needs one woman to validate him is poor in spirit. The man who desires connection but doesn't need it to define him, that man is rich. He has options not because he's chasing them, but because he's living from a place of inner abundance. And here's the paradox. When you live as if you have options, you often attract more. Why? Because women feel the difference. They sense when you're needy, when your entire self-worth hangs on their approval. And they sense when you're grounded, when you're content, when you're not desperate. The second man is irresistible. The first is forgettable. Neediness says, "You're my only shot, please don't leave." Abundance says, "I value you, but I'll be fine either way." Which frame do you think women respect more? Men often fear that showing they have options will push women away. The truth is the opposite. Options don't make you unfaithful, they make you free. Free from fear, free from desperation, free from clinging to something that isn't serving you. And that freedom creates respect. Think about the last time you felt stuck in a deal you couldn't walk away from, whether in business or in life. The person on the other side had all the power because you had no alternatives. Relationships work the same way. The man with no options has no leverage. The man with options commands respect. So here's the move. Stop living like she's your only shot. Build a life where you're surrounded by opportunity. Focus on your fitness, your career, your friendships, your passions. That way, if she steps in, she joins a full life. If she steps out, the life doesn't collapse. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. You can't control whether she stays or goes, but you can control how you live, how you build, and how many doors you open in your own life. That's how you create options. And that's why options create respect, not neediness." If you're ready to adopt that standard, put it in the comments. I live in abundance. And don't go anywhere, because the next shift reveals one of the most overlooked forces in attraction. It's not what you say, not what you buy, but the mystery you create, and why women can't resist what they can't fully understand. Number 7. Mystery keeps her craving more. Here's a secret few men understand. Women aren't drawn to what they fully know. They're drawn to what they don't fully know. Mystery is the spark that keeps her coming back. When she feels like she's already figured you out, the game is over. When she's curious, when she's guessing, when she's trying to piece you together, that's when she's hooked. Mystery isn't about playing games or hiding who you are. It's about revealing yourself in layers instead of dumping everything at once. It's about holding back just enough that she has to lean forward. Take Stephen, 49, a real estate broker in Denver. After years of being single, he met Karen, 46, a nutritionist. Stephen had always been the oversharing type. On first dates, he'd tell his whole life story, his job, his kids, his hobbies, his struggles. He thought honesty was the fastest way to connection. But what he didn't realize was that oversharing killed the intrigue. Women didn't feel drawn in, they felt overwhelmed. With Karen, he tried something different. When she asked about his past, instead of giving her a full timeline, he said, "That's a story I'll have to tell you another time." When she asked about his hobbies, he gave her a glimpse, but left space for her curiosity. He didn't hold back to be manipulative. He held back to let the story unfold naturally. The difference was clear. Karen leaned in. She wanted to know more. She started texting first, asking questions, following up. Stephen didn't have to chase his mystery, pulled her in. That's the power of mystery. When you reveal everything at once, there's no tension, no suspense, no anticipation. But when you pace yourself, when you let the connection unfold in layers, you create an irresistible pull. Think of your favorite TV series. Do they reveal every twist in the first episode? Of course not. They build, they tease, they leave you waiting for the next scene. That's what mystery does in attraction. It keeps her waiting for the next chapter. And here's the Stoic angle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are always desperate to prove yourself, you'll reveal everything too soon. But if your thoughts are grounded in discipline, you'll know the value of restraint. And that restraint creates mystery. Stephen later told me, "I realized I wasn't hiding. I was just giving her space to discover me." And that's the key. Mystery isn't deception. It's pacing. It's knowing that what's revealed slowly has 10 times the impact of what's dumped all at once. So here's the shift: stop oversharing. Stop trying to prove yourself in the first conversation. Reveal yourself in layers. Share just enough to spark her imagination and let her curiosity do the rest. Because when she's curious, she invests. And when she invests, she craves more. If you're ready to live from that standard, put it in the comments. I stay mysterious. And don't move yet, because the next shift uncovers why chasing validation kills attraction and how holding your frame flips the dynamic in your favor every single time. Number 8. Stop seeking validation. Hold your frame. Let's call it like it is. Most men secretly live for validation. They want to be told they're good enough, attractive enough, desirable enough. They hang on every text, every compliment, every signal. And when that validation comes, they feel high. When it doesn't, they crash. That cycle destroys respect faster than anything else. Seeking validation puts her in the position of judge, and you in the position of beggar. It says, "I'll feel good if you approve of me. I'll feel bad if you don't." And the moment you hand her that power, you've lost your frame. Frame is everything. Your frame is the mental and emotional space you hold. It's the posture of your mind. It's what you stand on regardless of what's happening outside of you. When you hold your frame, you're unshakable. When you seek validation, you abandon it. Think about how this looks in practice. A woman tests you with a sharp comment. If you seek validation, you scramble to please her. You over-explain, you apologize, you laugh nervously. But if you hold your frame, you don't flinch. You don't get defensive. You stay calm, steady, and grounded. That steadiness commands respect. The Stoics made this the foundation of their philosophy. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, stop trying to get approval. Stop trying to look good in everyone's eyes. Hold your frame, even if someone disapproves. That's strength. That's respect. And here's the paradox: the less you seek validation, the more you get it. Not because you asked for it, but because people are drawn to those who don't need it. Women especially feel this difference. When you need her validation, she loses attraction. When you don't need it, when you're content with who you are, she feels pulled toward you. Validation seeking is weakness in disguise. It looks like humor that tries too hard. It looks like texting too often to get a response. It looks like over-complimenting so she'll say something nice back. All of it screams, "Please tell me I'm enough." And nothing kills respect faster. Holding your frame, on the other hand, looks like this. You say what you mean without apology. You listen without scrambling to agree. You show up consistently, not anxiously. You don't need her approval, but you appreciate it when it comes. That balance is magnetic. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me we all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That's the trap men fall into. They love themselves, but they let others' opinions rule them. The solution is simple: stop chasing validation. Anchor yourself. Hold your frame. So here's the shift. Next time you feel the urge to prove yourself, pause. Next time you feel the itch to over-explain, breathe. Ask yourself, am I holding my frame, or am I handing it over? Because the man who holds his frame gets respect. The man who seeks validation loses it. If you're ready to live from that place, put it in the comments, "I hold my frame." And don't step away now, because the next shift might feel counterintuitive. It's about why sometimes the strongest move isn't to push closer, but to step back. And when you learn to do this right, she won't forget it. Number 9. Pull away so she leans in. Most men make the mistake of thinking the more they give, the closer she'll get. They flood her with attention, fill every silence, and lean in harder whenever they sense her pulling back. But attraction doesn't work that way. The harder you push, the more she retreats. The more you chase, the faster she runs. Pulling away is the opposite of what feels natural, but it's exactly what works. When you create space, you give her the chance to step into it. And when she chooses to close the distance, that's when her investment grows. Let's make it real. John, 53, a marketing consultant from Arizona, started dating Melissa, 50, a school administrator. In the beginning, John leaned too hard. He was texting constantly, suggesting back-to-back dinners, trying to secure her attention. Melissa started to withdraw. She answered less cancelled plans and kept saying she was busy. John felt panic. He thought the answer was to lean in even more. But after some tough advice from a friend, he tried a different approach. He stopped pushing. He focused on his hobbies, golfing with friends, weekend hikes, even reconnecting with his grown daughter. He replied to Melissa, but not instantly. He stopped filling every silence with nervous words, and something shifted. Within 2 weeks, Melissa started initiating. She texted him first. She asked when they could see each other. She leaned in where before she had pulled away. Why? Because the space John created gave her room to miss him. Instead of being smothered, she felt curious. Instead of feeling chased, she chose to chase. This is the paradox men don't understand. Pulling away isn't about playing games, it's about restoring balance. When you're always there, she has no chance to feel your absence. And without absence, there's no longing. When you pull back respectfully and with calm, you create the conditions where longing can exist. The Stoics captured this wisdom in their approach to detachment. Seneca said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere. If you flood her with presence, you rob her of the chance to feel your value. But if you stand firm, if you live your life fully, and allow moments of absence, you become someone she notices when you're gone." Pulling away doesn't mean disappearing without explanation. It means you're not desperate to fill every gap. You live your life. You guard your time. You don't panic when she steps back. You step back too, and let her decide if she wants to close the distance. That calm strength is irresistible. And here's the truth: when she leans in after you've pulled back, her investment doubles. Because now she's not responding to pressure, she's choosing. And chosen attention is 10 times more powerful than forced attention. John later admitted, "When I stopped trying to hold her so tightly, she actually came closer on her own." That's the essence of this principle. Pull away not to punish, not to play games, but to create space for her desire to grow. So here's your move: stop chasing harder when she pulls back. Take a breath. Step into your own life. Let the silence work for you. Because when you pull away with strength, she leans in with respect. If this is the standard you're ready to live by, write it in the comments. I create space. And don't go anywhere, because the final shift is the most powerful of them all. It's about emotional self-control, and why mastering it doesn't just win her respect, it wins her lasting attraction. Number 10. Control yourself, and you control desire. Attraction isn't just about what you do around her, it's about what you do when she's not there. It's about whether you have control over yourself, or whether you let impulses run your life. Because here's the truth: the man who can't control himself can never control desire, and the man who can't control desire will always end up controlled by it. Self-control is magnetic. It's the signal that says, I'm disciplined. I don't break under pressure. I choose my actions instead of being ruled by them. And women notice. They feel it in how you carry yourself, how you respond under stress, how you handle temptation. Think about the opposite. A man who's quick to anger, quick to overreact, quick to beg for attention, he's not leading himself. He's being led by his emotions. A man who drinks too much, spends too freely, or chases every distraction, he's showing the world that he can't even manage himself. And if he can't manage himself, how can he ever be a rock in a relationship? The Stoics built their entire philosophy on this principle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In other words, strength isn't about controlling her, it's about controlling yourself. When you master your reactions, when you master your impulses, you project the kind of grounded energy that women respect on a primal level. This is why discipline is so attractive. The man who hits the gym consistently, who manages his money, who doesn't crumble when life gets hard, that man signals stability. He signals power. And women crave that kind of masculine presence. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. Control also shows up in intimacy. A man who loses himself completely, who rushes, who can't hold tension, he feels weak. But a man who stays calm, who can slow down, who doesn't let desire control him, that man creates an intensity that words can't match. Self-control turns ordinary attraction into something unforgettable. And here's the paradox. Self-control doesn't make you cold. It makes you more powerful. Because when you choose your words, when you choose your actions, when you choose when and how to show your desire, every move carries more weight. She feels the difference between a man who's desperate and a man who's deliberate. Seneca said, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." That's the standard. If you want her respect, if you want her desire, it starts with you, not her. Not what she does or doesn't do. You, your choices, your discipline, your ability to say no to weakness and yes to strength. So here's the truth: control yourself, and you'll never need to chase desire. You'll embody it. Because women don't just want a man who desires them, they want a man who can master that desire, channel it, and lead with it. That's what makes you unforgettable. And when you live this way, everything changes. She doesn't just see you as another man trying to get her attention. She sees you as a man who already commands respect because you command yourself. Control yourself, and you control desire. And when you control desire, you don't just attract women, you attract respect, trust, and power that last far beyond the moment. So now you understand the truth. respect, attraction, and desire don't come from chasing harder, giving more, or begging for her attention. They come from discipline, from control, from living as a man who sets the standard. Every shift we walk through today builds on that foundation. When you stop chasing, when you hold your frame, when you live with options and self-control, women can feel it. They don't just see you as another man, they see you as the kind of man they can't forget. If you're ready to take this even further, to go beyond what we cover here into the strategies and practices that only a smaller circle of men ever learn, then consider joining as a channel member. Inside we go deeper. We train not just how to attract, but how to lead, how to command respect, and how to master yourself in every area of life. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you never miss the daily videos we put out. Every single day I'll be here with another principle, another perspective, another shift to help you live and lead with strength. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Stay strong, stay disciplined, and I'll see you tomorrow.